philanthropist, and above all that, the youngest serving commissioner in the country. I'm talking about none other but Wambui Nyutu, the Vice Commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC. But what more does Wambui do beyond all that? We get to interact with her this morning and find out what Wambui has been up to.
Hey, Laura.
How are you?
Good, good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You look
too.
lovely today.
Karibu sana
Asante.
nyumbani. Yeah. And you look lovely too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A nice home you have here.
Asante, asante
What
sana.
have you been up to?
Mambo mingi. Yeah, we've been, trying to deliver a peaceful Kenya, with the commission, which we achieved last year. We had the most peaceful election.
Yes.
Thanks to the work of our commission, as well as very many other stakeholders, and we are grateful for that.
Yes.
Now what is left is to ensure that the peace we achieved at that time, we cannot go back.
Yes.
So we are just maintaining. Yeah.
Amazing, and we'll even be coming back to a little bit of matters NCIC because you play a critical role in playing matters peace in the country. Yes. And right now we can be sure that there's been a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
and assignment bado ijaisha.
Yeah.
I'm seeing you have a very beautiful library here.
Oh, yeah. I try to replenish my mind every time. Kusoma, it said that the most intelligent person is the one who keeps adding knowledge to themselves. So I try to, make sure that my library has inspirational stories as well as real life stories. That is what I really love. I'm not a big fan of fiction. So, yeah.
What's your current read?
Currently, the book is not here. It's in my handbag. I'm reading Finding Me by Viola Davis. Yes. It's a book on a young girl who had been discriminated a lot when she was growing up, and then grew up to be the best and the biggest star in Hollywood. Someone who always doubted themselves, but at some point they found themselves and they won it. So.
Great. And when you read such a book, being the powerful woman you are, I'm sure you relate a lot with it. Huh?
Yeah,
it's such a beautiful book. I see also Becoming by Michelle here.
Yeah.
It must have been one of your most recent reads.
Yeah. This one is also a very nice book by Michelle Obama. And what I found in this book is that no matter how powerful you are, you can always have the imposter syndrome. It's up to you to keep telling yourself, I got this, I am here, I have gotten myself up here, I need to keep going. Because Michelle herself confesses to doubting her own abilities, even when she was the First Lady of the United States. So I always keep reminding myself of that. The other book which I really like is by that of Malcolm X. People who have led the struggle, people who have been leaders when times were tough. I like to, keep myself reading these things because we are not reinventing anything.
Absolutely. You can only just try to do it a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure even at the position that you are in, sometimes, as people say, it's lonely at the top. Yes. So sometimes you get there and people see you as this perfect Wambui without any flaws. But again, there are days when you really need someone to even tell you, Wambui, you're doing well. Exactly. Wambui, you can do it. You have to keep
you need that. Every day you need someone who whispers to you and tells you, Wambui, you're doing good. And you need to keep going. Yes. Yeah, and I have tried to surround myself with such people. Yeah, and it's really helpful.
Amazing. Yeah. And here I can see also a very beautiful photo of you and Dad and Mom here. Oh, yeah. This should be the day.
This was the happiest day of my life. The day I became an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Yes. It was my childhood dream, When I was growing up as a little girl, my dad is, one of the most amazing men you can ever find. Yes. And what he did, being a father to girls, he kept telling us, inspiring us. And I remember he's the one who first told me, you will make a good lawyer. When I think I was in class 4. I was around 10 years old. And I had just, put up an argument. We were arguing about someone who had messed up something, and I said, no, 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 no. I'm putting this argument because this person could not have done this. I don't want to give the real story. But he told me, your argument is really legit. You can become a very good lawyer. And from that day, I started writing in my books. Lawyer, Wambui Nyutu, from when I was in class 4 onwards. And I was so grateful to God that my childhood dream had come true.
Amazing.
I feel it is no matter being a commissioner, having achieved things even in business, I feel like that was the greatest achievement I have ever made in my life. Yeah.
Probably most memorable, happiest moment,
Exactly.
happiest day.
Yeah. And it was not easy. Law school was not easy, because I had a lot going on. I've always had, too much on my plate. So it was never easy. But it is the best blessing that God has given me.
Amazing. Maybe tell us a little bit about your family background growing up in Muranga. How was it like?
So I come from a family of 6. That is 4 girls. I'm the second born, and my 2 parents. My dad is a businessman. My mom is a teacher, now a head teacher in a primary school, still in Muranga. I would say we had a normal life. My parents really struggled and sacrificed the good things, or what was seen as the luxuries in life. We did not have that, but we had the basics that we needed. Not because my parents were rich, but because they sacrificed themselves. When people were buying televisions, when people were doing other things for their children, my parents chose to give us a good education. And that I am really proud of them for that. With their small salaries, with the small monies they were able to get, they refused to, take us to the luxuries. We never had television. In fact, I never watched television in my own house.
No way.
My mom being a teacher, until I finished Form 4. That's when Kibaki was in power, and now electricity started in the villages, coming to the villages. And that's when my mom thought, oh, my 2 daughters have finished Form 4. They are going to university. Now I can save a little money and buy a television. And my dad the same. We never had electricity. Some people had solar. We never had that. Yes. They chose to sacrifice that money to get us a good education. Yeah. So that is what my parents did for me. And I'm a second born. My elder sister is 1 year older than me. And then I have 2 sisters behind me. Yeah.
Amazing. And even, I think I follow you a lot on what you do, because you're an inspiration really to so many young girls out here. And I see what you do to your parents nowadays. I'm sure they're really proud, or like, hey, we invested in this a girl of ours now. We can really see it. And in any way, how did that growing up push you to be the woman that you are right now?
I think as you grow up, you realize the struggle that your parents are going through. And I kept telling myself, I don't want my parents to keep sacrificing for me. A time has to come when I have to take off the burden from their back. So when I got to university and started working immediately. I was working during the day and going for classes in the evening. Because I realized I have to take off the burden from my parents. And when I got to, I think, that year, I started paying my own school fees. Because my parents had 2 sisters behind me. They were growing old now. I had to, take off a bit of the burden from them. Not because they would not have sacrificed themselves more to ensure that I finish school, but because I felt I owed them. They had already sacrificed so much throughout our lives, and so I felt it was time to now give them the space to breathe. So I started working as a clerk actually for government at that time when I was in first year. And then as years went by, I started a business, importing handbags from China. The first consignment was, it's something you couldn't even sell. Because we just chose some stuff online and imported. And when they arrived in Kenya, oh my God, it was like paper bags. So I went to a loss for that, but I never gave up. A friend of mine took me to Uganda. We bought some stuff from there, came to Kenya, started selling, opened a shop. The business went by, started selling even clothes. From there, now the business grew. You know, I'm still in school. At the same time, I thought to myself, hey, can I now get into student leadership? And I tried to vie at the University of Nairobi for a representative for gender, and another time a representative for finance, and I lost terribly in both of them.
That was Sonu then?
Sonu, it was Sonu. The chair then was Babu Owino. I fought a good fight, you know, but favor was not on my side because of my political, you know, the side where nationally my political inclination at that time did not favor most students in Sono. So I lost, but I say that loss was a blessing in disguise, because I think if I had won that position, I would not be who I am today. Looking back and counting the strides I made after the loss, because people say it's not how many times you fall, it's what you do to pick yourself. So the steps I took after falling, I wouldn't have taken them if I had won. So I feel it was a real blessing to me at that time.
Yeah. And how were campus politics like then? Did they shape you in any way in now getting into national politics?
Yeah. I would say student politics was murky at that time. Nowadays, I see it's very easy. You're elected by 100 people. At that time, I think my election was almost like a constituency election. You had to campaign in 12 campuses, 8 campuses, yeah? It was a real campaign. You use cars, you use, some people even put up billboards, posters, wow, and all that. Yeah, you do.
When your end was your end.
Yes, yeah. When the University of Nairobi was University of Nairobi and Sonu was Sonu. Yes. It was really tough. There was usage of goons. You know, I could not understand why students could turn to goons. You know, I never understood. And I think that's why I terribly lost the first time. The second time, I would say, you know, it was something that I had already gotten used to. Yeah. So how it shaped me is that when now the campus politics were tough, and also the general election for 2017 was almost coming up. Yes. And I told myself, Wambui, you are almost finishing campus, yeah? So you need to look for something else to do. You cannot be a career student. Yes. And there were very many people who had become career students at that time, always in school. And I had told myself, I am graduating in a record 4 years, despite being a student leader. I am finishing this school. So I asked myself, what is my transition to national politics? Yes. And that is when now I formed the Warembo na Uhuruto organization.
Great move, that one. Eh? Yeah. But tell me about how that idea came about.
Yeah, so we were having a chapati forum at the Moi Avenue Primary School, where we had gone to make chapatis for street kids. And, you know, I really reflected on my future and where I was going, because I was graduating that year, 2016 of December. Yes. And in January, I asked myself, Wambui, what is your transition to national politics? I had looked at the involvement of women in politics, and at that time, the fight for involvement of women during the 2-3 gender rule debates and all that was really intense at that time. And I thought to myself, why can't I form a movement that will naturally involve women in the political process, the political campaign process? Therefore, it will not be difficult for political parties to nominate women and all that, because they will have already seen the work they have done on the ground, so they will be deserving of nominations. And so I formed Warembo na Uhuruto organization. Just called a few like-minded people, I think there were 7 of them at that time, and told them, hey, you guys, we can form this movement to support the president, but also most importantly, support candidates in counties and in constituencies. And this way we can entrench ourselves into the party, into the political parties. And maybe some of us can get jobs, nominations and all that. And this movement grew like, it spread like wildfire, bushfire. And everywhere in the whole country where we went, where the president and his deputy went, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, they found Warembo na Uhuruto. That is how big the movement grew. And when now it was real time to have the real serious campaign on the ground, there was no other mobilizer as big as Warembo na Uhuruto. And so when the Jubilee Party at that time needed a serious campaign team, an official campaign team for the re-election of the presidency at that time, they just called on me. Yeah. And I would say for me that is the call that now shaped what I have today. So when we now had to change the movement to become Vijana Tokelezea na Uhuruto. We went to the whole country. I was now the chairperson, the leader of that official campaign team. We went round the whole country, campaigning, mobilizing the youth, telling them to support the re-election of President Uhuru and William Ruto at that time. And we are happy that it was very successful.
And then after now, here comes the former president, Uhuru as one, yes. Deputy president there, William Ruto. Yes. There's, of course, after elections, now we look at what am I to get, where am I falling into? Yes. Then the senator position is gone. Mm-hmm. How long then did it take you to now transition to, I think, National Irrigation Board was the first one?
So it was a very difficult year for me. The year after 2017 elections was very, extremely difficult for me because, you know, I had never thought how difficult it would be for me. I was ready. I always prepare myself for two scenarios, the best one and the worst one. I had prepared my mind that I could lose that Senate nomination, and I was ready for it. And, you know, until the day the final list was announced on television, and everyone started calling me, Wambui, what have these people done to you? No, you deserve that nomination. We need to start demonstration. I hate this party, you know. People were all over. They started hashtags on Twitter, justice for Wambui Nyutu. I don't know, they started accusing some other women. At that time, I remember they accused Beth Mogo of taking my position, but I knew that was not the situation. The reaction of people is what made me realize, oh my God, it was that serious. Because for me, I had psychologically prepared myself for it. I decided to take my time and relax. People told me, you need to denounce this party and move forward. But I told myself, it is time for you to stay put. And there's a good thing about prayer, is that it gives you the grace to handle any situation without doubts, to have some kind of patience and peace of mind. So I never knew what the future held for me, but I had the grace to hold on to hope. Hope of not, I didn't know what the future will bring, but I just knew something will come up, you know, and I decided to keep going. So I think I took quite some time running after people, telling them, hey, could you give me a job here? Could you give me a job there? I knew what I...
with campus.
I was already done with university. I had already graduated the year before. Now I'm here with my degree. I'm supposed to get to Kenya School of Law, which was very challenging because, you know, we know the stories of how people fail in Kenya School of Law. I ran after quite a lot of people. promising me, don't worry, Wambui, we'll give you something. We'll give you something. You know, just wait, we'll give you something. Until one day, I walked into someone's office and I told them, you know what, I need you to make a promise. Not the promises you have been making. I want you to make a commitment that you're going to give me a job. And, you know, I looked at their face and they were like shocked. Wambui, what is wrong? I told them, I fought for this party, you know. I worked extremely hard. I actually had lost a lot of weight during that campaign. That is how passionate I had been with that re-election. And look at me. I lost my Senate nomination. People are asking me what happened, you know. I think you guys, my businesses are down. I think you guys really need to give me something because you're giving other people jobs. Why not the youth? You know. And I think that that message to that particular person settled well. Because in 2 weeks' time, they called me and they told me, I have seen a position somewhere, I will let you know. But before that, the current president had also called me and told me, Wambui, you really fought for this party. We will give you a job somewhere. And I could say that with time, and I got my position. I had actually two board nominations. I had to choose which one do you want, you know. And I settled for National Irrigation Board. I did that job for about 2 years.
That is in
2018, 2019. Yes. Towards the end of 2019, the law of the National Irrigation Board was changing. Oh, yes. And I had not completed my term because it was a 3-year term, but now the law is changing. We have to leave office because the board had now to be constituted differently, meaning they had to bring a representative of farmers, a representative of Council of Governors. So that meant there was no space for me. We had to leave this now to those who deserved it. And within 2 weeks, I saw another advert of a position of commissioners. And I remember the first thing I did after looking at this advert was going to the then current commissioners of NCIC. And I looked at their profiles. You know, there was always a board member in NIB, you know, the late Chizuga. And she used to tell me, Wambui, you need to fight for a commission position. And I used to tell myself, oh my God, that position is so big for me. I have already gotten the position of a board. I cannot be ungrateful and start finding for another job. And I have just gotten another one. So I used to tell her, no, let's relax here. She had told me that like 3 times. And I had always ignored it. But now at this particular time, I needed a job because my NIB job was ending. And I saw an advert, so I would say it was time and chance. Yes. Yeah, and it was God, luck and God. Yes. So I looked at the adverts. I mean the CVs of those people who are the then current commissioners, the outgoing. And only one of them was a lawyer. And the others, some of them had qualifications of arbitration, mediation. And I told myself, oh my God, I need these certifications, you know. So I immediately applied for an opportunity to study arbitration and to study mediation. This is even before I know I will get a job, you know. Like this is how faith works. Yes. So I applied. And within a month or so, or 2, I had already gotten my certifications. So with faith, I applied for these jobs. The nomination and the interview process was really, really tough. I remember sitting before, you know, serious Kenyans, a panel, I think it was a panel of about 10 people, asking me questions, but I was ready for it. So we did the interviews. Then we had this very long wait, waiting for the nomination by the president. So how it works is that you apply for the process for the position. Then the panel sends 16 names to the president. The 16 names, I was among them, you know, but you don't know that you are among them, you know. That was the longest wait, you know, with a lot of tension. It was a serious month of, you know, prayer, praying the rosary. I think there's no time. I went to church too many times to pray the rosary on a weekday, you know, to ask God, please just give me this position. And one of the days, then the president announced the nominees and sent our list to Parliament. And that was the, you know, a sign of relief, biggest sign of relief I have ever had. So the vetting process was really tough, you know. I think it amounted to harassment. I remember one of the members of Parliament asking me, Wambui, do you think you're the luckiest person, you know, to have this nomination as a commissioner, and yet you are recently a board member. You are even currently a board member. And I was telling them, no, I'm not currently a board member. But what they forget, you know, people are quick to say that you're lucky, but they forget to remember the input you have done, the efforts you have put to get where you are. People forget to give credit to people. And I knew how much I had done. I was not the most deserving person, but I was there. And God had chosen me to be a representative of the youth. You know, there had never been a 28-year-old commissioner ever in the history of Kenya. I was the first one. And so I understood the challenges it would come with. And those challenges continued to follow me even after becoming a commissioner. Because when people are referring to you in a table, and I know you know the composition of my commission, not all of them are my age, you know. All of them are beyond my age. And, you know, some people, when they are referring to you, they would say, you know, you're young, you know. And I think I made a decision at some point during the commission time. And I banged the tables and I told them, from today onwards, I do not want any of you to ever refer me as a young person, because that is what you use to water down the efforts that we make. That is the phrase you use when you want to show us that we are not deserving of things. And this was especially during the election of the vice chair, because the vice chair is elected. I got in as a commissioner, but then they had to elect a vice chair. So some people are of the opinion that I'm too young to become a vice chair.
They don't really see what you're bringing to the
table.
Yes.
Yes. And I had to bang the table and told them, excuse me, never ever refer to me as young while we are on this table. I went through the same process of nomination. I have more qualifications than some of you. Never ever refer to me as that, because I had realized that when they want to brush off your ideas, they play the young card, and they show you, you know, you still have time and all that. And that is when people decided, oh, we will elect her. You know, those who are against my election as a commissioner now had to accept, as a vice chair, they had to accept that, you know, I had the votes, you know. So when they realized I have the votes, they want to tell me to step aside. And I said, no, I'm not stepping aside. This is a democratic process. If I get elected, that's fine. If people don't elect, if people say they want to elect another person, I am okay with that. But you cannot turn me down just because of my age. And that is a battle I continued to fight until now. Heshima ikaingia. Yeah. It's not easy for the young people out there. You know, you have to fight your battles. You know, no matter how they come, don't run away from them. Face them head on. You must have the confidence and the hard work. You know, put in the work. You know, just know that you're good at your job. And then your persistence will, you know, keep you where you want, or take you where you want. I remember last year during the elections, there are people who said, the people of Azimio used to say, this commission is favoring the Kenya Kwanza. At the same time, Kenya Kwanza is saying this commission is favoring Azimio.
And actually, it reminds me of that specific meeting that the former president held in State House.
Yes.
And you were there.
Yes.
And then there was all these stories going on. All the NCIC is now on the Azimio side because the president then was in the Azimio camp.
Yes.
How was that moment like? Did you feel at any moment that you shouldn't like have attended that meeting, and did it affect you in any way during that period?
Yeah, it really did. It really did, because we strived to be, neutral. Yes. But people have their perceptions all the time, and we had to do what we had to do.
Great.
So when it came to...
And even as you mentioned about hate speech, right now I think we've moved from the physical one. We are now on social media. Yeah, it is chaotic right now. Are there any guidelines or that NCIC is putting in place to ensure that we now manage that hate speech that goes on around in social media?
Yeah, we have done a lot. In fact, we have a team that monitors social media. We have a board where we have written these people who are very well known to spew hate speech on social media.
So let them know their name is somewhere.
Yes. We have also categorized some pages, because some pages are also run by these political goons who are, fierce through the keyboard.
And do you feel like we are yet there in terms of youth and women representation in the political landscape in Kenya? Yeah.
We are not yet there. In fact, we have a long way to go. I would say, affirmative action has played a role to help women and youth get certain positions. But it has not yet settled in the minds of people that a woman can be a leader and a good leader. We have seen women governors face more harassment than their male counterparts. We have seen governors who are male only put up a lady as a deputy, but only, they do not put deliberate effort. They do it only for them to be seen that they have done it, but it is not deliberate. They do not think that these women deserve these positions. They do it as if they are doing someone a favor, which really should not be the case.
Even as we wrap up, I know you run the Wambui Nyutu Foundation. Matters education are so close to your heart. Yeah. So what exactly do you deal with, and how is it going so far?
Yeah, the Wambui Nyutu Foundation is a fruit of a promise I had made to God when I was fighting for my position as a commissioner. It was a struggle. I went through so many battles that people may never know. I was fighting against political giants, people who had been politicians for a long time. And I promised God that if he made me a commissioner, I would give back to him using a foundation. I had not even decided that it was a foundation or anything, but I had just made my promise to God that I will give back to society. It is said that when you help the poor, you're doing the work of God. So I had made that promise to him.
And I look at your house, I see so many portraits. And it's portraits of not only you, but you with someone else. In case for people who are watching, when you're wameona mrembo ujua yuko soko. How has it been like? Beautiful wedding you had there last year.
Thank you. I'm married to an amazing man called George. He's currently not in the country, but it's his portraits.
He's around.
He's around. He's with us in spirit. Yes. Marriage life has been beautiful. I want to tell women and youth to know that they can have it all. You don't need to limit yourself to just being an educated woman. You don't need to limit yourself to just being a person with a good job. You don't need to limit yourself to anything. You can have it all. So the far I have come, I am also very hopeful